so excited to have literally one of my favorite characters on television, but it's actually a person, not just a character.
Seriously,
yes. Yeah. Brian Thomas Smith, you all know him from Big Bang Theory and a lot of other things, but that's just my favorite that I know him about. He's our guest. Thank you so much, Brian, for being on.
Well, you're very welcome, Paul and Lindy. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Appreciate that. So we thought we might kind of dive back because you've been an actor. How long have you been an actor now? 16, 17 years? Longer?
So I moved to LA from St. Louis, Missouri in the summer of 2000.
Wow.
So coming up on my 20-year reunion.
Wow.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yes. So when that big breakthrough does happen, it's going to be, an overnight success that took 20 years.
I think you've already had a big break that people know about.
I've had lots of cool breaks. I've had a lot of almost breaks. I've had a crazy journey. It's lots of struggles, lots of successes, but I still love the journey. So that's why you keep going, and it's been fun. It's been awesome.
So do you have family still in Missouri? Is that where you're originally from?
Yeah, I grew up there. I went to high school there. I played sports actually in high school. And then when basketball season was over, I was like, you know what? I'm going to audition for the spring play. And I got a part, and the whole drama club voted at this assembly at the end of the year. And I was the best actor. And I was like, what? And I beat all these like really talented drama students who were singing and stuff and just crushing plays. And I just did one little play and everyone thought I was great. And I was like, I'm gonna do more of this. And so I went to college in Missouri and did a couple plays, but I was in a fraternity and I was having fun and I was just kind of doing it for fun. I wasn't thinking of a career. And then I was also a film and broadcast major. So I was making some projects, TV video projects. And I was like, you know what? I'm moving to LA to do this for real. And summer of 2000, I moved out here. I knew one person, my friend Ben from high school, and he had moved out here the same summer. And I slept on his couch for 6 months, trying to find a job. It was hard to find a job just waiting tables or bartending because I had bartending experience, but there's a million bartenders that move out to LA every day.
I can only
imagine. Actors, So it was a slow start for me. It was hard to get an agent. It took 5 years for me to get an agent.
Why is that? I mean, is there a reason? I mean,
because, I feel like this, so there's like this, it's like a circle and it's hard to get in because you have to have a resume to get an agent, and you can't really build a resume without an agent submitting you for projects. So you got to hustle on your own. And back then I was getting the Backstage West newspaper and I was opening it up and looking down in the breakdowns and finding a role that maybe was close to me. And I was submitting myself back with a headshot, mailing them off.
While still trying to find a job.
Yeah, just trying to find a job. And it was like I was doing student films. I was doing free non-union films, whatever I could do just to get some type of reel to show people. And I was doing acting classes. I was in Leslie Kahn's acting class. She has a huge acting, workshop out here that she just dominates. But I was with her 12 years ago. I was with her so long ago, and she would call up agents and be like, this guy is so talented, he should be working. And I would go to these meetings and they all passed. They were like, he doesn't have any credits. I can't do anything with him.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
That is so crazy. Yes, especially whenever you're getting her. Well, she's actually doing it on her own.
Someone that they know that vouches for this actor.
Yeah.
Look, if you get him in the room, and
like a slap in the face. That sucked.
Also, I was 23, like a white guy. Everyone had me, I wasn't unique. I wasn't like this model dude. I wasn't like.
Well, I don't know. I'm looking, and you've got, English, German, Irish, Jewish, Cherokee, Native American, Welsh. What? Not an average white guy. From the list of stuff I'm reading.
And you're 6'3". There's not many actors 6'3".
And so that's how I got my big break, was because I was 6'3".
Really?
Yes, this is how I got my agent. And back in 2006 or 2007, Dan Fogelman, who created This Is Us, and he also did Danny Collins and a couple other movies. He's blowing up. But his second TV show pilot was for Fox. It was called The 12th Man. It was about an NBA bench warmer. So he was like the underdog But he was also like the straight guy, and everybody around him was ridiculously funny and just charactery, and like he was just like very sarcastic. And they were going to shoot this pilot in a week, and they didn't have their lead. They had test 9 other actors. The actor needed to be 6'3" or taller, and they couldn't. The whole show was cast except for the lead. And I went in on this audition, and I got the audition because the casting associate was a fan of The Amazing Race, and my brother and I did The Amazing Race season 7. So we had just been on The Amazing Race. I think it had just stopped running, and so she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's one of the brothers. He's 6'3". Oh my gosh, he's 6'3". So I came in on a Monday morning, read the audition. They were like, "Can you come back for the producers tonight?" So I came back that night, read with them, and they were like, "Can you come back tomorrow? We want to work with you, maybe possibly test you on Wednesday." And I came back on Tuesday. They worked me with the scene. They're like, "We want to test you. You're our guy." The character's name was Adam Rump. So
that's funny. Really exciting.
Yeah, and so I test on Wednesday. I was the only guy that test. You know, you sign your contract to how much money you're going to make per episode.
Wow. It just like happened.
Yeah, just like on Monday, a Wednesday, I test. The 20th Century loves me. They're like, yes, now I need to pass for Fox. So I show up on Friday to do the same thing again. They just watch all my tapes, and I go into the room thinking I'm doing the audition, and they say, "You're our guy."
Wow. That's pretty cool.
That's
exciting. I was the lead role of a TV show for Fox back in 2007. This was like The Big Bang Theory had been on for like 1 year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And The Office had just started, all these type of roles.
Now, were you on The Office?
I wasn't on The Office. But
okay.
I always feel like John Krasinski started like the same time I could have.
Yeah.
We shot the pilot.
Yeah.
And it didn't get picked up. It had a lot of traction. Everybody loved it. They actually even paid to hold me for another year because NBC wanted to buy it, but then Fox was like, "We don't want anyone else to have this because we might do something with it." And it sat on the shelf for a year, and then they released me. And then this awesome pilot, I mean, Dan Fogelman created it, and he was like, now he's like this genius writer for This Is Us. And like, talent was there. The show was really funny. It was maybe a little edgier than its time. And the Fox kind of, I don't know, numbed it a little bit. They I don't know. We thought it was going the whole time, but it didn't. But that was a huge what if.
Yeah.
Where would I be now if that show gets picked up, even just for a season or two, you know?
Yeah. So what happens? Because I actually got to see some stills from that, which I thought was really neat. What happens during that year? Are you allowed still to act, do commercials, or are you just hanging out at the house waiting for the phone call?
Yeah, you can still audition for whatever, movies, commercials, whatever, but I was exclusive with Fox. So I couldn't do other TV shows except for Fox had me in first position.
Right.
That makes sense.
For this
That's why you signed the contract, right?
Yeah.
You're theirs.
I still remember, like, so I didn't have an agent either. So when this kid comes from nowhere, who's this lead of a Fox pilot, you know, they're all reading in the trades, right? Thomas Smith, who, I was going and meeting with every single top agency, like the top tier, not the tier that my acting coach was like vouching for me.
Yeah.
Passed on me. Big dogs now. And a bunch of other actors and the creator, everybody, Dan, they were all repped at William Morris, which is now William Morris in Denver. And I still remember we shot the pilot. We all went out to Mastro's in Beverly Hills. We had the back room.
Nice.
It was me. And I had a little manager at the time who helped me. You know, he didn't get me the audition, but he was just like my guy who was there. And then all the agents from William Morris and the director and the writers and producers. And I stood up and did a toast. And I remember I was like, I've seen a lot of, I met with a lot of agencies, but it comes down to the people I've met. And I'm a William Morris guy. And I was cheering. And then we all sat down. And then I told my manager, I was like, hey, I have to leave in 30 minutes because I have to bartend and I can't miss this. I didn't even stick around for dessert. I had to leave.
Oh, well, you still have a job.
I didn't know if the show was going to get picked up and I needed to work. It was like.
Did they just give you a dumbfounded look? Like, Are you kidding?
No, I didn't tell them I had to go to work. You know what? Maybe I did tell a few of them I actually had to go to work.
Yeah, well, you know, it got out either way.
I'm quitting this job soon.
That's hilarious.
And then did you quit the next week after that?
No, I still was bartending for another 6 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's pretty cool.
So the one that kind of led to my big break almost for you, The Amazing Race. How did you end up on The Amazing Race? Because now as a celebrity, I'm sure they would love to have you on. But at the time, how did you get on, just you and your brother?
So a friend of ours was actually, I just remember we all went to this Dave Matthews Band concert in LA one of the first years we came out here. And we met one of our friends. Well, he became a recruiter for The Amazing Race. And he was like, you and your bro got to go in on this. And I was like, I'm an actor. I'm not doing reality. And we made a video. We made a video. We sent it in, and they were like, "This is the best video we've ever made." It's on my website, actually. It's if you
that's cool.
ThomasSmith.com. You got to see it, or you can YouTube it. It's the Brian and Greg Smith Amazing Race audition.
We will put that link on our.
We shot this with a video camera, like editing it. We turned in a VHS copy of our audition. That's how
high tech.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's what this was 2005. So that's what everyone was doing. And we did the audition process. We had so many auditions, and we ended up making it. And it was like the coolest thing that I've ever done. And I got to do it with my brother, which was the coolest thing, because we just had so much fun on it.
Well, that's really neat. Well, yeah, I read that you were actually, pretty close, right? You were.
We flipped our car in Africa, in Botswana, and we didn't get eliminated. We actually came in second to last. We beat this team on a foot race.
After flipping a car.
The best television I've ever seen.
That's crazy.
And they were like the villains too, and we came rushing past them, and we made it to the mat, and Phil was like, "You are the sixth team to arrive." The next day we left last, and we got lost, and we didn't even see a team, and we got eliminated. So we in the middle of the road there.
That would make or break a relationship to me.
So that's why I went with my brother, not like a girlfriend or something.
I don't think I could. Yeah, there's no way. That's crazy. So you and your brother still talk even afterwards, right?
Oh, yeah, we're best friends. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
That is awesome. So behind the scenes on The Amazing Race, we just see small clips to 1 hour show. Yeah. So is it really like a lot of start and stop, or hey, we need to get this angle, or is it just nonstop 24/7 craziness?
Yeah, it is.
Reality.
It's pretty accurate, actually. The only time that you have to stop sometimes is if you're not racing, they got to get out of the car first, because your cameraman and sound guy, there's always two people with you. And so when you're getting out of the car, sometimes they'll get out first and film us getting out of the car. Greg and I wanted to run faster and say, "Wait for your camera guy." It's like, but the camera and sound guy rotate a team every leg of the race, so you're not paired up with the same people and all that stuff. But yeah, if you're sleeping at the airport, they're sleeping on the floor with you at the airport. It's pretty accurate. We drove 3 hours in the wrong direction, and they didn't say anything, and they were like, "What do you feel like? What's going on right now?" And we're like, "We're lost." We followed a production truck, actually. We thought, because we left last and we saw this production truck take this road, and we're like, we followed them because we couldn't find the road anyway. And we're like, this guy's going home or something. He's not going to the next
he knows
leg.
exactly.
So many what ifs on that show. I always think, man, if we would have done this or this, we could have won $1 million. But then who knows what would happen?
Yeah, if you're competitive, for sure. I probably wouldn't be able to sleep afterwards because I'm just.
You have stress dreams for afterwards.
Waking up.
Where am I? I gotta go. For real. Both my brother and I both had these stress dreams. We were freaking out.
I could so imagine that. That's crazy.
Wow. Now, were you on Fear Factor as well?
Yeah. So
what's up with that? And what did you eat?
Is this I'm an actor. I can't do it. No.
Yeah, we were talking about Fear Factor. Yes, exactly. But this was my second year out in LA. It's 2002, and my friend just won $25,000 on the show called Dog Eat Dog, and I was like, I need to win some money on these reality shows.
Yeah.
I want
to hang out with your friends.
Right? There's all these reality shows that get shot. This was the peak of all these reality shows. Win this much money, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I made a clever video, and I got selected to be on the show, and I was like, I'm going to win $50,000, and I was doing well except for the eating part. I just want on the record here. They edited this. They made me look so bad because I'm eating this dried cod egg sack covered in ants. And I'm chewing away. There's 20 minutes. There's no clock on the wall or nothing. They say, you get 20 minutes. If you can't do it, just say you can't do it, and we'll eliminate you, whatever. Well, I'm chewing the last bite, and they said time. As I was chewing the last bite, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I just ate this whole plate. And Joe Rogan was like asking me questions, and I was giving him jokes and stuff like that because I was eating for 20 minutes. It was
God,
terrible television. So I was saying things. Yeah. Well, they gave me when they did the editing, I'm chewing and talking the whole time. And it's like I said like 5 jokes in 20 minutes, and they put it all together. They had Joe Rogan do it. Joe Rogan had a countdown from 10 to 1, which there was no countdown.
No.
I was chewing the last bite. I went nuts. I wouldn't leave. I sat there and I was like, I just ate all this. And
I figure if it's in your mouth, regardless if it wasn't like all the way down your throat, it would count.
Yeah.
That is so frustrating.
And I was like, I just ate all I lost it. I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't even imagine because you still taste it in your mouth now, just like reminiscing.
The memories of the big sack and ants going on my face.
I told you we dig up some stuff in the past.
Good dig. I try to erase that one because I do come across as an a-hole on that one. I was pretty pissed. That was my lesson on the Amazing Race. I came in with a better attitude. I wasn't.
That's good. You probably didn't even like put Fear Factor in your little resume there, did you? Just like
no, I don't put it. None of that stuff's on the resume. The TV, like TV and film, they don't care if you're on a reality show. I mean, maybe more now. There's like the influencing stuff. Like if you have followers now, it's really important. Back then, not so much. I do a ton of commercials. That's how I really make a living.
I saw that.
Yeah, ton. I used to do so many beer commercials and all these cool spots.
I was just talking about that. I was like, golly, you just really like beer.
I think I've done. I know I've done 12 Bud Light commercials or something.
Oh my God.
Some of them don't even air. Some you shoot, they don't air. Some I had a campaign for a little bit, but TV and film casting people they don't care about any of that stuff. It's like they kind of look down on it actually.
Really?
It's funny. We actually literally were watching a Dairy Queen commercial the other day. I go, that's Brian. Yeah. And you were dressed up as a princess.
I just started running.
Really cute. I love that. I was like, no, I'm like, is he a dad? Are you a dad?
No, I'm not a dad. Yeah, I just got married 3 years ago. Hopefully,
it comes natural to you, and
thanks. I'm an uncle, so.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, that's good.
So in the commercials, whenever you're on, the ones that do air, I mean, is it normally, hey, a month later I'm on this commercial? Is it like a year later? Oh, I forgot I did that, and then you see it?
Both. They're both. The turnaround nowadays is pretty quick. I've shot a commercial, and then 3 weeks later, it's running.
Wow.
I'm actually shooting a commercial tomorrow for Coin Master. It's a game, I guess, with Terry Crews.
Wow.
He's going to pick me up and throw me out of his house. I got to wear a harness and all this stuff. So I'm shooting that in the morning.
That's exciting. I hear he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. Yeah. But who knows? You never know. Like, I mean, I'm not getting cut out of that one because he's picking me up and throwing me out. But there's other commercials where you shoot it. And sometimes you shoot them and they don't run. So you never know.
Wow. So, I mean, this right here, the list that you have is the ones that actually aired, right? Yeah. Or are they just like all in there? Like, hey, I did it, didn't show, but
I mean, I got like on my website, there's a few spots that I don't think ever aired that I shot.
Do you have a favorite?
You know what? My favorite was the DirecTV commercial I did where I faked my own death and become Phil Shifley. Those spots where it's like if you miss the cable guy, then you see these mobsters outside, and then you got to go on the run, and then you have to dye your eyebrows blonde. And
I know it's kind of
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they threw me in the San Pedro Harbor at midnight in the suit. It was freezing. There's a boat on fire behind me. I'm coming up for air like I'm escaping and faking my death.
Wow.
Wow. They bleached my eyebrows blonde, and I had a wig and glasses. It was so funny, and it ran for a while, and then they flew me out to one of the Major League Baseball All-Star games and hid me in the crowd, and they showed the commercial and then panned to me like Phil Shifley was still hiding out. Phil Shifley is going to be around. I'm going to go to all these sporting events as Phil Shifley. It's the greatest gig ever.
That's
How long
awesome.
did it take to actually film all that? Because it sounds like you were at it for
Yeah,
weeks.
there was a couple days. It was like a 3-day shoot for that one. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
That's
3
amazing.
days? That's crazy.
So being a Cardinals fan, you going to go to the Cardinals game and it's Phil Shipley?
Yeah, I wore a powder blue Cardinals jersey when I went to the All-Star.
Oh, that's great.
Great.
So do you even audition for the commercials now, or do they just call and say, we know your work, would you come and do this?
Well, now you have a person for that, so
Yeah.
he's good now.
I wish the commercial audition process would catch up to the TV and film process, because I have this, the trick to booking a bunch of commercials is getting in on a lot of auditions, and you book a few commercials with this casting director, you're like on their short list, they bring you in all the time for stuff. But there's still, I go in for first call commercial auditions, and then I have to come back a week later for the callback, or whenever the callback is, where the director will be in the room, and then you book it. Very rarely, there's been a few, like this Dairy Queen commercial, I had done another Dairy Queen with the same commercial. So she brought me in straight to callbacks, and I still had to do it for the client. And then I booked it. But it's like, like a lot of these casting directors in the TV world, especially the half-hour comedies, they just bring me in straight to producers or whatever, because they've already read me before and they know what I can do. Commercials, I still go into the first call, even though the like callback ratio is like 90%. I'm coming to the callback. Why can't I skip this first one?
Right.
I think sometimes the clients pick or the director picks, so they look through all the auditions. Who comes back? I don't know how it's really done, but. Yeah.
Have you had some pretty good directors? I mean, as far as just the people who you've worked with, I mean, pretty good.
Yeah, I've worked with both. I've worked with both Farrelly brothers on commercials. One was this huge Samsung spot that was for the Super Bowl. It was like a week-long shoot with like 40 principal actors. And then the other, I think it was Peter Farrelly, was a Staples commercial that was just really simple and like, oh, he's just doing it wasn't even like a big funny spot.
Wow.
A lot of these, who's trying to think of this other director that did this Discover Card for me, or Discover Card commercial, Burke, what's his first name? He's like Mark Wahlberg's buddy, and he did
I can't now. Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, not important. He was an interesting story.
Not important. Now, what is important? This is what I've been waiting for. Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Tell us how you came about to being the part of Zack, and kind of tell us, if you would, a little bit about what that was like being on, how much you interacted with the other stars, just because that's what so many people worldwide know you as for. In fact, do you still get called Zack? People call you Zack?
Oh yeah, people. I mean, I get recognized a lot actually, especially when I travel. I think in LA, no one really cares if you're an actor out here, or at least no one stops you and says anything or takes a picture with you. But if you travel, I'm taking photos all the time with fans, because the Big Bang Theory is so popular, and I really found that out like going home and all over the country. Fans are reaching out, taking pictures. It's pretty cool. So
overwhelming a little bit, or I mean, this is kind of what you.
No, I still love it. I don't think I'll ever get annoyed with fans. It's pretty exciting still these days. Where like I'm also on like Cameo, so people like will pay to get a personal video sent to me. So I do a bunch of those. I was like, man, all these people are paying for my videos.
I know, right?
Right.
Yeah. You didn't have to really work again. I mean,
right.
several cameos.
Tired for my cameo.
You might make more off of that.
I hate to see how much we owe you for this spot.
I know, right?
On Cameo, yeah.
You'll get the bill. So the Big Bang Theory, I still remember it was a same day audition. It was like a Monday, and I got a call from my manager that was like, hey, can you be out in Burbank, Warner Brothers at 5:00 for this audition? I was like, yeah, sure. I had like 4 hours to work on this audition, and I had done a little co-star on the 2.5 Men. Mm-hmm. So Ken and Nikki, the casting directors for the Big Bang Theory, all Chuck Lorre's TV shows, they already knew me, so they're like, we love BTS, we'll bring them in for this. And I show up, there's 5 actors. I know all 5 of the guys, all the same kind of guys, bro dudes that can play the dumb guy,
like Joey on Friends. There was like every guy looked the same.
Seriously,
yeah.
We're like, hey, what's up? Oh, wait, what's up?
Yeah.
And so we all 5 went in, And they brought two of us back. One guy went in next. He got like back in the room. He got some notes. And then I went back in. And then they dismissed all of us. And on my drive home, they're like, hey, table reads on Wednesday. You booked it. And I was like, sweet.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah. Easy as pie.
Easy as that sounds so easy. That sounds good. And like, it's so funny because the Big Bang Theory, the writers are so good. The audition scene from what I auditioned with, from the table read to what we put up on Tuesday, because we tape on Tuesday nights, completely different. They rewrite, they make the jokes tighter, funnier. If it doesn't, kill at the table read, then it's gone and it's replaced with a funnier joke. You do run-throughs all week long with the writers and producers and everybody. And
so no sleep.
They cleaned it up. This was back in season 3. I was on the season 3 finale. Not a lot of people know that Mayim and I had her first episode was my first episode.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't know that either. That's really cool.
Sheldon goes on a blind date, gets set up from Raj and Walowitz.
Yeah, that's right.
And I am on the rooftop, looking at lasers in the beginning of the show. And so my role was literally supposed to be a one-day guest star. Penny goes on a date with me. She realizes she can't date dumb people anymore. Wants to be with Leonard. And that's the end of season 3. And Zack is gone. He'd served the purpose of the story. And then, I got a lot of laughs that episode. I still remember like shooting it and the audience going nuts. And Kaylee turned to me and goes, "You are killing it. This audience loves you." And I was like, "Yeah."
You're like, "I
know." And even when, after you take a bow at the end of the live taping, the Chuck Lorre and all the producers and writers, they walk down and shake your hand. And Chuck Lorre was like, "Dude, you're funny." And next thing you know, season 4, they call me back for more episodes. And then I became this fun recurring character. And I always feel like if there was more room on the show, story-wise, I could have maybe been, I don't know if I could ever been a series regular, because where would I fit in on the show?
You'd have to get rid of Raj or have you
even when I guest star, somebody else's storyline is like really small because there's already so many actors, and these series regulars are making so much money. They have to be in every episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when they brought you back as Superman, I said, okay, great. Maybe he's going to be one of the gang now on a regular basis. And then it was so sporadic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just crazy because that was such a fun episode. I was in almost every scene there. And as an actor, I left that week going, I know I should be a series regular on a TV show just as popular as this. The game it's the right role, the right show, the timing, all that has to come in for success a lot of times. And just knowing that you have the chops to be a series regular, someday, I booked that pilot. I'm trading blows here on the most popular television show, and every scene getting huge laughs. And it's like, personally, I knew I got what it takes, and I've known that, but it was really good proof to myself. And then, I did another episode, season 4, and then I was like gone season 5 and 6, and I was like, oh, I'm done. Then they brought me back in 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think I might have the record for fewest episodes, but most seasons.
That's pretty cool.
On any television show in history.
Yes. You might actually be in a Guinness Book of World Records right now, and you just don't even know it. They're already writing it down.
Yeah. So did you interact? I know you're on the air with them, but did you guys interact a lot together with or is it just the people that you're in the scene with on like Big Bang Theory, for example?
Yeah, the Big Bang Theory is a well-oiled machine, and I'm season 3, 4. We're all eating lunch together. They had a ping pong table on set. Everyone's playing ping pong. Everyone's family on the show. It's pretty good vibes. Season 7, I come back. No one's really eating lunch together. Everyone's kind of eating lunch in their own, but everyone still loves each other. Everyone is new. Everybody's so polite. Everyone's so kind. There's genuine love between each one of the cast members.
I'm sure it becomes a family, right?
Yeah, it's such a beautiful home there. It's that's probably why it was so successful. You can really feel these actors genuinely care about each other and support one another. But how many times can you eat lunch in the cafeteria with your,
yeah. It's like a marriage that's forced.
Yeah. And what's crazy is like seasons, I think 10, 11, and 12, the table read would be Wednesday. We would do the table read, 45 minutes, released, you're out. No rehearsal afterwards. We used to rehearse after the table reads. Thursday, you do the table read from like rehearse from like 9 to maybe 1 or 2. And then the producers come in and you do a run through from the beginning to the end. Friday, we used to rehearse, do the same thing. Seasons 10, 11, and 12, they're so good. They know their characters. The writers know what works in the jokes. There was no rehearsal on Friday.
Wow.
And then Saturday and Sunday we're off. And then Monday, you only work if you're doing a pre-tape. If there's a show with a bunch of extras or a scene with a bunch of extras or a scene that's complicated, then you would come in and you would pre-shoot that. If you're not, you don't even have to show up. And then Tuesday's a long day. You do a run through with camera blocking and all that. And then you break, dinner, and then you shoot in front of a live audience. It's like less than 15 hours a week.
Wow. That's crazy.
Wow. That is
amazing, though.
Crazy, right?
Right, it is. So,
it's because they were so good. It's like they didn't need it. They probably were showing up on Fridays going like, not much is changing. We're going to put up a great show on Tuesday night. What are we doing here?
Hello, hockey now.
And that's what they were. I mean, they were like, the more money you make, the less hours. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's a nice balance. I like that.
It is.
Now, you and I were talking about trying to continue the character of Zack.
Yes.
And I didn't know if you would mind sharing a little bit about that, or is this still a little, we're too far ahead of ourselves at this moment?
We're way far ahead of ourselves, but I'll still share it because I have nothing to lose. No one asked me to write a spinoff for Zack. No one's like, oh, please develop this spinoff for your character. But I had a good idea for a spinoff, and I'll give you the short pitch. But right now, the process is my talent reps have reached out to Chuck Lorre's people because he owns the character, and we couldn't even get to Chuck. His people were like, no spinoffs, and they're like, but no spinoffs, but no spinoffs. So that I don't take that as a no because he hasn't said no.
Well, yeah, I know.
Seen it.
That's right.
So I'm still working on it. I just got to go different angles now. Maybe we go through one of the other actors, production companies, or somebody that really believes.
Why don't you just get his agenda for the day?
Like, show up.
Yeah. Yeah, be like, hey, funny meeting you here, by the way.
Right. Show up in a Superman costume.
Yeah. As the character.
Yeah.
As the character.
Right. Well, the short pitch is that season 12, we left Zack married and rich and wanting kids. And so we pick up with him still rich and married and wanting kids. And so he goes through the foster care system and he fosters a couple kids who eventually become, they adopt them and become their own kids. But it's kind of like the movie Instant Family meets Different Strokes.
Oh, God.
Because except for Mr. Drummond is Zack from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
The white guy. He's this dumb, rich white guy. So it's going to focus more on Zack's sweetness and his innocence and like how he's always so positive and he doesn't really know how to teach these kids anything because he doesn't know a ton, but he thinks he does. And so maybe his strategies are off and they're silly and they don't work, but then they end up working because it's just his intentions were good. So it's going to be kind of based on those stories, every story raising.
Well, I like that. I mean, a lot of people I think can really familiarize themselves, especially with new parenting and things like that. And I'm trying to think, I mean, other than that family that adopted the kid, I can't remember, that's got that really hot woman.
That's what you need. As long as you have a hot woman in there.
Sure.
Most dads are dumb anyway. I can speak from experience. So I think that would be perfect.
Or the TV show. Anyways, I don't know of any other TV show that's actually had like an adopted, like going through what you said. So I mean, it's new, it's fresh. Why doesn't he take you seriously? Come on.
It's kind of like modern families now are
modern
mixed, and they're all different ways of family now. And this one's going to explore fostering and adopting, and maybe they have their own kid eventually or something, and it's a family of love and Zack, in the world of trolling and everyone being kind of like negative and attacking everybody, like that's not Zack's world. He's kind of a simple-minded dude, and so it's more of he's
in a bubble.
He's blind to all that stuff, and he kind of raises his kids in this made-up world in his head, So,
all right, if you ever get a website or some kind of fan petition, we will have everybody signing that.
Yes. Seriously, fans need to speak. People send me tweets and all kinds of stuff. Spin-off, you need a spin-off, and so there's people that want it. So we just got to make it happen.
Awesome.
Should.
We definitely will.
I'll be thinking about it.
All right, so everybody find out where Chuck Lorre lives and just sort of put it on the door and let him know what's going to happen. And then Zack will be behind us in a Superman costume.
Yeah,
so that'll be perfect. Yeah. I had to say Zack instead of Brian just because I'll know the character. Yes. Yeah. I'm starting to do it now. So what else are you working on, though? Because you told me that you were writing scripts and you're doing a ton of stuff behind the scenes that nobody knows about yet. But what can you share with us at this stage?
I just finished a script that I've been working on for a while. It's for a TV pilot, and we're doing a table read. I just got a bunch of actor friends on board to read some roles, and it's still in the process of, we do the table read, we're going to get some notes and fine tune it a little bit. We've been working on it for over a year, so it's already really tight, and we just need to get it up. Hear it out loud, and then from there we're going to take it out and try to either sell it, or if we have to, we'll make it ourselves. It's a really, really heartwarming story, but it's a comedy. Death and family and forgiveness are all huge themes, but done in a dry comedy, I guess. So
now, do you always stick with comedies, or are you wanting to kind of venture out into more, I don't want to say serious roles, because to me,
dramas and stuff. I go in for some dramas, which I'm happy. I finally am going in and making some noise in the drama world. There's some casting directors that keep bringing me back, and I get pinned for stuff and getting real close to some good dramatic roles. I think it's because I'm older now, and there's more roles for me, I guess.
Or is there like an age limit to how long comedy should last?
I don't know. Like the younger drama, how about this? The younger dramatic roles are like CW model dudes, like, right? Those roles. I've been told you're not CW. Casting directors say you are not CW material. I don't know what that means. This is when I was like 27 or something.
Oh yeah. Well,
but I'm down for whatever. I love dramatic stuff, but comedy is my world. And when you work really hard on getting in through to the comedy world, that's kind of where I want to live. And you'll be surprised, the multi-camera comedy world, which is kind of dying out. There's not too many. CBS is like the only place that loves multi-camera live audience shows. There's like a different way of acting. There's a different formula. There's a different style. And some other casting people see that as like overacting, and it's like not good acting. And that's not what they want, which you can still do the other style of acting. It's the other way around. It's really hard for an actor to do the timing of multi-camera comedy.
Well, yeah, I would just think in a live audience. Yeah, it'd be crazy. Yeah, you'd have to really have the timing perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. There's rhythm, there's tricks, there's reversals, there's all this stuff that you do as an actor that you kind of just learn from being on set of these shows. Line crossing, like the way you deliver the lines, everything, and holding for laughs and everything. It's definitely an art, and I think it's harder to do that stuff than it is to do the dramatic or even just single camera comedy stuff. That's more grounded and realistic. I love that stuff. That's the show I wrote. The pilot that I just wrote is more grounded and single camera and stuff like that.
Well, it sounds great. I hope it goes well.
Yeah, it's exciting. You get auditions. You can't sit around and wait for auditions to come. And I feel like being proactive is the way to be. So it's whether it's writing or shooting some sketches or whatever you got to do to work while you're not working.
Well, that's true. Now, have you written before, and do you know when, if you have, on when to just kind of call it quits instead of just trying to push it, you just got to move on?
So I've never written anything before, and I'm so proud of myself that I finally completed a project, because I've been wanting to write a movie or something for 19 years out here, but I didn't know how to do it, and I've been overwhelmed and intimidated by the feat of doing this, and I don't know how to do that. So my wife's sister's boyfriend is a writer, and so we collaborated on this project, and so it was a lot of we got together with an idea. I contribute with ideas, but he's the guy that's scribing it. He's the one that's hands to the keyboard and really fills it up nicely with all the descriptions and all this stuff. He's a pro, but we collaborate on the story and the lines and the characters and all this stuff. So I've learned a lot.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's exciting. Well, I am hoping that maybe next year we can have you on when you actually have your own pilot going on the air or something at that stage.
Absolutely.
And then we can talk about that and say, remember the day when we first were talking about this?
Remember when? Last year.
Small bit when you were in Big Bang Theory. It's
going to happen. And people are going to be like, wait, who's this guy? How do I know that guy?
Exactly. And then you have a big, huge show, where you're on like a typical podcast on a regular basis with two wonderful people. That would be an amazing show. I can't wait to see that.
It all started here.
That's right. Thank you so much, Brian Thomas Smith. Amazing to have you on. This is just the highlight, and what a way to kick off our podcast
That
today.
is really awesome. Yes, it's been so nice.
Thanks for having me, Lindy. Thanks for having me, Paul. It's been fun.
Yeah.
My pleasure. We hope to do it again. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Hit me up whenever.
Sounds like a plan.
Get together when the spinoff's up and running.
That sounds good. That's
perfect.
Awesome.
We'll be there. Thanks, Brian. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right. Now I want to watch the spinoff.
Yes, I do too. I really hope that he can, get the funding or whatever they need to do to make this happen. Because this needs to happen.
Yeah, maybe we need to start a GoFundMe or something. I tell you what.
You mean me, you, me?
Okay,
me?
somebody with actual, skills needs to start a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
If not,
navigate.
at least message on Instagram, DM Chuck Lorre, and tell him you want the spinoff.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do.
That's what we need to
Everybody spam Chuck Lorre's Instagram account and tell him you want a spinoff. That would be a lot of fun to watch this.
Is Brian Thomas Smith going to actually endorse this as he's saying it? I don't know.
I don't know.
It could happen.
That's true.
But we really hope it does.
That would be a lot of fun, though. I never really thought about a spinoff till he mentioned it. And then I thought, yes, that's exactly what we need, because Big Bang Theory, one of my favorite shows of all time. And now that it's off the air, I'm like, let's at least bring back a part of it. And he is such a funny
Sheldon
character.
got his. So
That's right.
Let's just kind of, go off of, Zack from Big Bang Theory. I think that's great.
Zack
and then he also is, his writing is, he's in the works right now doing table scripts and, is that what it's called?
Table reads.
Table reads.
Table scraps,
So it's, he's reading and just hopefully maybe something will happen with, him in this
venture?
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
I was going to make you earn it.
I'm speechless at this point because he's doing so much.
It is. I know.
Which is great. He's still early on in his career, that he still has a lot of stuff that he could, pull out.
That's right.
Pull off? I don't know.
Who knows where his career is going to go? But and that's why it's so hard with this new project, because we don't know a lot about it, because he can't share it, because they may end up selling it someplace or making it themselves. We just know that he's got a lot of actor friends involved, and if he's in it, it's got to be funny.
Yes, of course.
So I can't.
But he is trying to venture in drama roles too. I think too, right?
Yeah.
Again, if you go on his website.
BrianThomasSmith.com.
You can actually see some short little clips of him doing some drama. And I think he can pull that drama thing off too. I was watching it and I was like, I could feel it.
Yeah, you could feel it.
Yes, I could feel it. It's great. You need to go on there. And he's got a Twitter, an Instagram, Facebook. We can put all of that, you know, either on our website, or if it's on YouTube, we can put it in the description boxes. That way you can just link up and click that. That's right.
Yes. And in the future, anything special that he wants to tell people about, we're going to make sure to share it as well. So again, you can go to our website at mybigbreakalmost.com. You can also check out our YouTube channel or anywhere there's social media.
I know, we've got that stuff too.
That's right. We've got that stuff, and we are going to copy Brian's stuff and put it on ours.
I know, right?
We are going to plagiarize the heck out of this thing.
Man, I just want his web builder. Whatever his web page builder is.
They are good.
Better than MySpace.
MySpace. Check out our MySpace page. We got a new 8-track song coming out. We got sidetracked. But again, Brian Thomas Smith, wonderful, wonderful guest for our first podcast episode.
Yes.
And coming up next week, Game of Thrones fans, get ready. The White Walker.
G-O-T.
Ross Mullen coming your way.